I remember thinking how strange it felt to be surrounded by so many people, and still feel like a guest in my own life. 300 chairs. White flowers everywhere. Soft music floating through a room that looked like something my daughter once cut from a magazine when she was 12. Back then, she kept a folder labeled, "Someday." I used to smile at it, never quite believing I'd see any of it for real. Yet there I was, sitting near the edge of the hall, hands folded neatly in my lap, watching her move between tables like light had chosen a human shape. She looked happy. That should have been enough. But happiness, I've learned, has layers. Pride can sit beside exhaustion. Love beside an ache you can't fully explain. I had raised her alone for 23 years. Alone not in the dramatic sense, just in the daily one, schedules, fevers, bills, parent-teacher meetings, broken appliances, quiet nights where decisions echoed, because there was no one to absorb them. People admire single parents in theory. In practice, they mostly forget you're there. I was used to that. Her husband's family occupied the center tables, confident, loud, comfortable in the spotlight. They had the ease of people who had always belonged in rooms like this. His father, especially, seemed built from that kind of certainty. He had a voice meant for audiences. The speeches began after dinner. Warm words, polished jokes, the usual rituals of gratitude. I listened with the same soft smile I'd worn all evening, nodding when appropriate, clapping when required. My daughter caught my eye once and beamed. I felt something steady inside my chest. Then he stood. The father-in-law. He was charismatic, I'll give him that. The kind of man who believed charm was the same thing as kindness. He spoke confidently, effortlessly. The room leaned toward him. He praised his son, praised the bride, praised the joining of families. Then his tone shifted, subtly, playfully. And of course, he said, smiling, we must acknowledge the incredible strength of raising a child alone. A few polite nods. Some sympathetic murmurs. He turned slightly toward my table. I can't imagine how difficult it must be, he continued, doing everything by yourself. Though, he chuckled lightly, perhaps it explains why our dear bride is so independent. Soft laughter scattered through the room. My daughter's smile tightened. He kept going. But truly, we are grateful she now has a complete family. The laughter grew louder this time, not because it was funny, but because people often laugh when they don't know what else to do. Something inside me didn't break. It settled. Humiliation isn't always loud. Sometimes it arrives like a quiet rearrangement of air. I felt the familiar instinct rise, stay seated, stay invisible, protect the moment for your child. I had swallowed worse things. But then I saw my daughter's face. Not angry. Not embarrassed. Hurt, that small, almost imperceptible flicker, the one only a parent would notice. Silence expanded around me, thick and slow. My heartbeat was oddly calm. Years of restraint have a way of training the body. I stood, no dramatic movement, no scraping chair. Just a simple, deliberate rise. The room noticed in stages. Conversations faded. Laughter died mid-breath. The father-in-law paused, his smile lingering a second too long as he recalibrated. I didn't rush. Didn't glare. When I spoke, my voice surprised even me. Do you even know who I am? It wasn't anger that filled the room. It was confusion. He blinked, still holding the microphone. I'm not asking as her mother, I said gently. A ripple of unease moved through the guests. I'm asking as the person who approved the acquisition of your company last year. The shift was immediate. Not emotional. Structural. Recognition is a physical event. I watched it travel across his face, disbelief first, then calculation, then the unmistakable draining of certainty. His posture altered, almost imperceptibly, but enough. Confidence doesn't vanish dramatically, it leaks. Whispers began. Chairs creaked. Someone near the front inhaled sharply. I had never mentioned my position to them. It had never seemed relevant. My daughter knew, of course, but she wore my career the way she wore everything else about me. Without spectacle, I didn't think it necessary to introduce myself formally. I continued, still calm. Tonight was about them. The microphone lowered slowly in his hand. I raised my daughter alone, I said. Not because I lacked options, but because life required choices. No applause, no gasps, just silence, dense, uncomfortable, real. I hope, I added softly, we can all be careful with humor. I sat back down. The speeches ended shortly after. The rest of the evening continued, though something invisible had shifted. The father-in-law became noticeably quieter, pleasured. People avoided my table with exaggerated courtesy. My daughter found me later near the exit. She didn't say much. She just held my hand. There was no triumph in me, no satisfaction. Only a steady, familiar feeling. Dignity restored not through dominance, but through clarity. Some tensions don't dissolve. They simply change shape.